I think this is the least hot take you've probably ever said in your life. What's up, Response On players? We're back with another Riftbound and Down. Excited to talk about the League of Legends space, everything from Riot Games. I am Bryan, and joining me today is
Jake. More coughing to come.
And Nick, this is so botched.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
You're botched.
I calls him as I sees him.
You must not have any eyes.
He thinks he's a whale biologist, but it doesn't matter. We've got a few things we want to talk about. First of which is the recently released Riftbound Spiritforged FAQ, which changes some of the rules. So we wanted to go over this a little bit and talk about what it's wanting to do and how that'll change things. So without further ado, let's get into it. Hi all, we've heard your questions about Spiritforged, and we'd like to address some of them. We also need to issue some clarifications of intent where the current version of the core rules is ambiguous or misleading. These clarifications will be incorporated into the next iteration of the core rules. As part of these revised and clarified rulings, we have also updated some card wordings. This is called an errata. We previously announced plans to issue errata via a database called Watcher. These plans are still in the works, and we'll update you when we can. This document has 3 sections. Outstanding issues from the Origins FAQ, including some errata to Origins and Spiritforged cards. Functional errata for a small number of other cards in Spiritforged. And rules clarifications about cards whose intended function may not be obvious in the current rules. The errata are also available as a separate document. This FAQ includes far fewer errata and rules revisions than the Origins FAQ, but it still includes more than we'd like. The reason for this lies in part with the long lead times for physical games. Spiritforged card text was already finalized when many of the rules and templating decisions in the Origins FAQ and errata were made. So some of this is just catching up. We expect the need for day 0 errata to continue to decrease as our rules stabilize and our production catches up to real world time. We're well aware that the formatting and cadence of our rules guidance have room for improvement, and we're committed to making these improvements in the coming months. For now, though, we want to get clarifications and errata into players' hands in time for Chinese tournaments with Spiritforged cards. These clarifications take effect immediately. And of course, this document was published on 1/13. One other note about errata: as always, errata may impact the effective power level of cards, but we have no plans to issue errata strictly for power level reasons, only to make cards work within the rules and as intended.
The big thing here is that, like, obviously erratas are very important for clarification.
You okay?
But the big issue that we had with like set 1 is there were 31 erratas for day 0 set 1, which is a lot. And it did affect, like, there are several cards that work way differently when applied the errata. For instance, there's the Teemo that says when you defend or when you play it from hidden. It did a thing. Well, they errated it to when you defend. So when you play it from hidden and it's defending, it works probably as intended. Whereas, like, you could just play it from hidden on your turn and get that effect and use it,
defend with it
and then
afterwards.
put it back under hidden and cycle and get the effect probably twice as much as you should be able to. It's nice that they've scaled down the number of erratas needed. I would hope that this eventually reaches 0 or like very important erratas, because having to clean up card text every single release is very taxing.
For sure.
And like these erratas are functionally a lot more important than set 1s, in my opinion, because there are some of these that affect the rules as a whole and the way that rules have been played. Mm-hmm. So we'll kind of see as we get into this, like the big differences, because some of these erratas and stuff have to do with set 1 cards as well. So it's not even just day 0 fixing set 2 before we get it here in the West. It's also fixing some problems we've already had. So if you want to continue on, if Nick's got nothing.
I do want to say that I do hope that they do something in regards to the cards printed that are printed incorrectly now at some point. Just with how many erratas there have been, I hope to see them do some kind of reprint of errated cards in like a set or like an additional product that can be purchased if you want your cards to say the right thing. Other games have done that and it's worked really well. And they have much fewer erratas and changes in their cards. So
fair. Yeah, I definitely think that a world in which we decide to reprint these to make sure that everybody's on the same page will matter, assuming we're trying to reprint cards in the future or like reprint things when maybe we get some kind of rotation in a couple of years. We'll see what that looks like when that happens. But to continue, throughout this document, we use some specific shorthand to represent symbols in card text. Here's the short guide. E means exhaust, M means might, A means 1 power of any domain, C means 1 power of this card's domain, C, an accelerate cost takes on the domain of the unit or turns into A, 1 power of any domain, if the unit has no domain or multiple domains, and C, in other cases, is treated as the corresponding power symbol in all respects, matching how the card is actually printed. It's just design shorthand. The first part of this FAQ actually touches Origins. Origins FAQ, outstanding issues and erratas. Some categories of errata that we made in the Origins FAQ also apply to Spiritforged cards, but weren't made in time to be included in their printed versions. We've also got a few loose ends in Origins to tie. Falling Star, Icathian Rain, and Deflect.
And you!
The Origins FAQ impacted these 2 Origins cards in ways that ultimately went beyond our original intentions for them. And we haven't been happy with the result.
They aren't happy.
We'll turn over the mic to Riftbound game director Dave Guskin, that's not me, to talk about 2 prominent Origins cards that are receiving errata. Hey all, Dave here.
Wait, I thought you said you weren't Dave.
I'm quoting. And I quote,
oh, okay.
Hey all, Dave here. As we developed more and more designs that needed to perform effects after an initial effect resolved, we added in a new type of trigger called a reflexive trigger. These triggers are the way that a spell or ability can use information from a first effect and still allow other players to respond, now knowing that information before the second effect resolves. We used a straightforward template or formal wording to identify reflexive triggers, the then do this template. And because Icathian Rain and Falling Star were already using a similar template, I ended up pushing forward with changes to those cards to reflexive triggers, even though they didn't have the first effect information, second effect kind of flow. This was a mistake, and we shouldn't have done this. It has a lot of weird, unintuitive consequences for gameplay that make these 2 cards play different than one might expect. And also worse. For those reasons, we're changing these 2 cards to work the way other spells work and the way we think players want them to work. That is, you pick all the targets up front, the other player can react before any of it resolves, and then each of the units affected take the damage on resolution. You can still choose the same unit or different units for each choice.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, I think it's the right play.
Yeah, because... Oh, sorry, continue.
That was it. That was all I was going to say. I think it's the right play.
Oh, definitely the right play.
Yeah.
People talking about when you go to counter like Falling Star, or when you go to like, okay, what are you targeting? Okay, well, I'm going to tell you the first target, you let it go. Cool. Now I'm going to tell you the second target, you let it go. And also being like, I'm using the first one, you can't negate it because it's already active.
Yeah, you've moved on.
I played it, and you don't have a window to negate this outside of you get to negate the first one, you don't get to negate the second one, or is I think the way
Yeah.
it's actually being played.
Yeah, that's wild, and not how any card game that I know or play ever works for these kinds of things. So I'm glad that they're lining up with uh, more standardization and in line with one, common sense, and two, how other things work in other games to make it more streamlined.
Yeah, like now this being like, okay, well, now you can negate the effect, like you can negate the card. But also all your targets have to be chosen up front now. So like
Yes.
instead of picking 17 different fucking targets for like Icathian Rain specifically, being like, yeah, we're gonna do this one at a time.
Was that enough? 2? Was that enough? Okay, now that was enough, let me start choosing my 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th target and like really get the most out of it. Now I'm having to guess, are you going to save it with a spell? And when you save it with the spell, it does actually save it. I don't go, I'll just change it. This was more important, so I'm adding the extra and then putting the extra in. I agree with that. I have played a couple games where it gets a little ambiguous, but typically that's games that don't have a lot of cancels, so they become things where like, I'm playing the card. Are you responding? No? Okay, well now the thing is happening. And now you may respond to the end of it all happening. Which is much closer to what this is set up now. Either you're saying, yeah, you don't get to play Icathian Rain. Fair. Or you're saying, declare all your targets, and now I get to interact with Icathian Rain again. I don't get to interact with it in the middle. I have to wait until you finish the card. Its effects.
Well, it's information, and then my interaction, and then because this says put forward a change the card reflector, even though they didn't have a first effect, information second effect kind of where it should have been pick a like you're supposed to play the card, you interact with the card, and then
you interact with the playing, everything. And then you declare everything, and then you interact with the declarations.
Yeah.
And so yes, like,
that feels which is the way it should be. Like in every card game, anything that has a target, you declare what you're targeting with that card. You don't get to go unless it picks a target in a different state of the card.
Yes,
like you don't get to just go.
Yeah, you don't usually in most card games that I've played get to go, I'm doing thing. What do you want to do? And then go, okay, well, you now have to decide what you're going to do from the effects of the card before I tell you what is being affected.
Yeah.
Or what is all being affected, I should say.
Yeah, like anything that like in Magic when you play a card that targets something immediately, or versus something that like on cast and on resolution being two different triggers. But yeah, this is a lot better, a lot more straightforward. If we're saying things wrong in the comments, please correct us. I'm pretty sure we've got a handle on this one. Like it's pretty much straightforward. A big good change. We are also 3 idiots, so like we may not be expressing correctly the way we're perceiving the information. So if we're miswording our understanding, please just correct us.
Yeah, just say
we're just 3 doofuses.
Like to talk about card games.
Nope. Just 3 doofuses. That's it. Capped.
Fair enough.
So, in addition to these card changes, we have small rules change to make. We've realized our design team and rules team weren't in agreement about how Deflect was supposed to work. In the rules, a target's Deflect cost was paid once for each spell or ability. In the design team's playtesting, it was paid once for each time that target was chosen. That misalignment didn't actually matter. Icathian Rain and Falling Star had reflexive triggers, so they worked as intended. And there were no other cards that we could find that can choose the same unit multiple times. Now, the difference does matter, both because of the above errata and existence of the repeat ability.
Mhm.
And we want the cards to play as the design team intended. To that end, we're taking the unusual step of issuing errata for the rules. We're errating everything out
We're changing
here.
anything. We can do it all.
We're all the wild, wild west of card erratating.
So, rule 735.1.c, revised. It is functionally short for spells and abilities an opponent controls that choose me, cost an amount of power equal to deflect value, more to play as an additional cost for each time they choose me.
As intended. So, like, yeah, like this was already being done for Icathian Rain and stuff because the previous errata, or before the errata, deflect, you know, because they trigger multiple times and the way deflect read, you would go, hey, you have to, if you're going to choose my thing with deflect 6 times with Icathian Rain,
send back 6, please.
You're going to deflect 6. Sorry, dog. But as he said, there being new cards that now choose differently, and they don't explicitly go do this, do this, do this, do this. And the way they're now doing the reflexive triggers, it would make deflect kind of weird. Do I pay the deflect once? Do I pay the deflect whatever? And this kind of just spells it out. If you are targeting something, every time you target it, you have to pay that extra cost.
If it has an
for
extra cost
each time you target it.
Yeah, for sure.
Which good clarification, and I think it makes deflect
very good,
continue to be playable and very strong, as it should be.
Yeah, deflect is already was strong, and now it really kind of solidifies. Hey, things with deflect are really good. They are worth paying attention to because that matters a lot.
Yeah, by a lot.
Cards that tell you to play other cards from your deck. Question: Origins cards that instruct players to play cards from their deck, like Promising Future and Blind Fury, received errata to banish those cards before playing them. Will Spiritforged cards with similar abilities receive a similar errata? The short answer is yes. This is mostly a bookkeeping thing. Banishing the card ensures that the game has a place to put the card until it's actually played, and a place to send the card back to if it can't be played for whatever reason. 99% of the time, these cards work the same with or without this errata, but we need to cover these weird corner cases. This impacts 3 Spiritforged cards, plus 1 Origins card that got past us last time. The cards affected are Rek'Sai, Swarm Queen.
And I do want to take a moment. The flavor text on this card is gold.
Pretty much.
Very Rek'Sai.
Yes, just yell. So it's Rek'Sai, Swarm Queen, Void Burrower, which is just the Rek'Sai legend, Void Rush, which is the Rek'Sai signature, and Reinforce from Origins.
Which is a card Rek'Sai cannot use.
Correct. It is not on the right colors for her to use them. Basically, the revised text says you banish them and then play them, and you recycle the rest, or you banish it and play and recycle the rest. You may banish one, then play it. You reduce its cost. Draw any you don't banish, and then banish a unit from among them, play it, reduce its cost by 5.
Pretty straightforward, pretty easy. Nothing crazy there.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to follow. Pretty much makes sense. Just saying, hey, when we get ready to play things that aren't in our hand, they go to this other zone, and then they come back into play, or they get stopped from going into play, and then they go back to that other zone. Reflexive triggers on Spiritforged cards. Should the reflexive trigger system introduced in the Origins FAQ apply to any cards in Spiritforged? Yes! This is another one where if you don't know the finer points of the rules, you're probably already playing these cards correctly, but the machinery of the rules requires a slightly different wording than we thought. Reflexive triggers, identified by do this language, create new chain items to handle things that need to offer players a chance to react, or just need to happen later than the rest of the spell or ability. This impacts 2 cards in Spiritforged, both of which let you play something and then try to do something to that thing. which those two cards are Arise and Realm Magnetic. Arise basically has been changed to create your 2 Might Sand Soldier tokens for each equipment you control, or one for each equipment you control, then do this, ready up to 2 of them. And Realm Magnetic is when I attack, you may play an equipment with energy cost no more than 2, ignoring its cost. If you do, then do this, attach it to me. Doesn't seem complicated to follow that. Spiritforged Functional Errata. A handful of cards in Spiritforged were printed with text that either doesn't quite work or technically works but goes against design intent and, we think, common sense. We're issuing errata to maintain these cards' intended function. Blood Rush. Should Blood Rush say this turn on it? Yes, it should. Like Convergent Mutation in Origins, the phrase this turn was accidentally omitted. It does not give Assault permanently. That would be really crazy, especially with the repeat effect. Give it like Assault 7 or 8 in this case, because it's all evens, and just be like, it's got Assault 8 for the rest of the game, man. That would be crazy.
Yeah, that would be beyond ridiculous. Like Assault. Yeah, I can't even fathom how goofy that would be.
He's like,
I've got this guy I played last turn. He's like a 4 might unit. I'm gonna burn 8 mana, or eight. I'm gonna spend 8 power, just 8 energy to just assault this man into oblivion.
Yeah, like, this guy wins, and then I'm gonna use another character's ability to like bring him back out so he can't get killed as a 4 might, and then I'm gonna bring him back out again, and he's just gonna show up over and over as like a 20 might unit every time he attacks. Yeah, that would be insane.
Switcheroo.
Yeah, right. That's how you'd have to get around to that point.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Not weird. Just saying this turn, it doesn't last forever. The next changed card was Death Grip. Is the friendly unit on Death Grip a cost or a target? When do I kill it? And what happens if I don't? Death Grip uses a non-standard wording that we normally avoid, precisely because of these ambiguities. We're issuing errata to bring it more in line with how other cards and abilities work. This errata establishes that 1. The friendly unit is a target, not a cost. 2. It is chosen along with the other friendly unit and killed as the spell resolves. 3. If you don't actually kill it for any reason, either because it's no longer a legal target or because you replaced its death with an effect like Sonya's, you do not give the second friendly unit any might. You do still draw 1. We've introduced a paragraph break to make that clear. So the revised text of Death Grip is kill a friendly unit, period. If you do, give additional might equal to its might to another friendly unit this turn, period. Draw 1 card. Draw 1 in this case.
I think this is really interesting because you get its reaction, so you can react to somebody targeting. This is just me talking about Death Grip in general as a card, because I think this card has been pretty low on my radar. But I mean, this is a neat little yellow like a roundabout spell. Like, oh, you're gonna kill my thing? Well, I'm gonna kill it and give that might to something else at this battlefield, and I'm gonna draw a card
and replace.
It's pretty cool.
I'll keep all my power. It's now on this other guy, and now I put new card in hand. Let's see what we do.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
You think you can target with switcheroo? Nah, it's dead, and now this other thing has its power.
True. Kill it first. It no longer be targeted by things like switcheroo. I do like that we have a Mordekaiser quote on this one, because we don't have any Mordekaiser cards yet. So I'm excited to see him.
Yeah, it's not as good as that Rek'Sai.
It's not, because unfortunately, Mordekaiser can speak words.
Rek'Sai could, if she wanted to.
I think she can, actually.
You don't believe enough.
Okay.
We're going to move on to the next card. Edge of Night. Does Edge of Night's auto-attach ability work? Well, I would assume yes, but because unattended gear at battlefields are recalled Edge of Night does a strange little dance on its way to becoming attached, returning to your base while its ability is on the chain. Because of that dance, it's no longer here when the attachment is supposed to happen. We need to change its wording so it can still find the unit you chose. But we don't want any confusion here. The card works exactly the same as it did before. The hidden rules still require that you choose a unit at the battlefield where you played it from face down. For that reason, we've included reminder text in the errata. The only change is hidden. Hide is the same. When you play this form from face down, attach it to a unit you control here, which is what it says. It just then explains that here is the battlefield that it was revealed at.
Yeah, and it's really interesting. Like, I mean, obviously, because gear, unlike artifacts in like Magic, where it's like they kind of exist on like this nebulous space on your board or whatever, because things don't move from battlefield to battlefield in Magic. Gear, if you move a champion that has gear onto a battlefield, that champion and that gear go to that battlefield. So if that champion dies, that gear is on that battlefield and then recalls
back to your base.
Back to your base, which is really interesting. And I wonder if there's like some kind of weird way or like that can be abused with any cards. Just a fun thought.
Not currently, but I imagine if there was a way to target a thing and say when this card moves, because it would move from the battlefield back to your base, so you could like target the gear that was there, and then come when it moves back, you would get the trigger similar to like Wandering Merchant, some things like that with when I move triggers. Maybe that happens in the future. We get a card that does that. Or they'll try and design around that. They don't want that to affect things like equipment. We have Janna, Savior. Can Janna's play effect be used to heal my units without an enemy unit present? Triggered abilities in Riftbound can't be placed on the chain unless all required targets can be chosen. They can resolve and perform part of their text without all targets still being available, but all targets must be available to put them on the chain to begin with. This is weird, and we generally try not to force players to know it. We think 99% of players probably expect that Janna can heal their units without enemies present, so we're meeting that expectation with a simple up to. Similar to some up to errata for triggered abilities in Origins. So her change is now when you play me, heal your units here, then move up to one enemy unit from here to its base. Makes sense. Feels very solid. You just get to undo damage that was dealt during spell effect, and immediately, if there is a targeted enemy, you can target them back and push them off the point. Jax Unmatched. How does Jax Unmatched work? Jax Unmatched grants quick draw to equipment in your hand, which works as far as letting you play them as reactions, but doesn't work so well when the equipment hits the board and the other part of quick draw tries to take effect. We're fixing that. The errata change is your equipment everywhere have quick draw, which makes sense to me. We're trying to make equipment fast reaction equipable, and he technically wasn't doing that. You just put it on the field for free, and then they'd go, okay, but you can't equip it.
Yeah, that's that is unintentional. Like unintentionally, really funny words is written. Like, yeah, yeah, in your hand has quick draw. I play it. Stick is not in your hand, dog. It is not every. That is not.
Yeah, like it just hits your base, and then you go, okay, well you can't equip it now though, because like you're not allowed to pay the cost now. You have to. It doesn't have quick draw.
That is so funny. That is so good. That's like a psych out card. It's like, yeah, everything in my hand has quick draw. Play it. Oh man.
Yeah, I think this is one of the funniest because of just how they worded the errata question. It's just, does Jax work? Like, does it even do what it's supposed to? And the answer
errata, absolutely not. It
like they were like, now that we've changed it, absolutely, yeah, it totally works. It gives everything quick draw, which is really cool. I think that's actually really strong.
They looked at it and they were like, "Ooh,
whoops,
guys, we fucked up."
Well, that's not what we wanted. We'll fix it. We'll fix it in post.
We'll fix it in post.
From Jax, we go to Cato the Arm. The question being, can Cato the Arm give himself his own might and keywords? Friendly unit does properly include Cato himself, but that wasn't the intent behind this card. Cato can't throw himself after all. Yes, he can. It was a simple goof that Cato made it out the door without the word another. And the gameplay is so divergent from the design intent that we're changing it to fix this error. Of course, now his wording is, when I move to a battlefield, give another friendly unit my keywords and additional might equal to my might this turn. Yeah, it would have probably been really funny if he gave himself double deflect, 6 power. Like, guy would just be big on a 4-drop. Like, holy. I feel like that's so hard to deal with if he's like attacking and then just doubling all his stuff. And then there's some follow-up, or there is a follow-up question, I should say, for Cato. Does Cato give keywords he's gained during play? And what about might bonuses from various sources like equipment? The short answer is yes. Cato gives his current keywords an additional might equal to his current might to the unit you choose. Later changes to Cato don't matter. What the unit gets is locked in as the ability resolves.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's just good bookkeeping. Like, that's a good clarification, because people are going to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I think that's the intention behind the card. And it really makes you go, well, I can just equip him with stuff, and then I
give it to
double
both
the
people when I
equipment
move.
stuff to other dudes. Plus, giving deflect is just really good.
Yeah, like, passing deflect onto someone is very strong. There's a lot of units and champion units and such that do not deserve deflect. They've not earned that right. They're not supposed to have that. And then he goes, "I'll give him deflect," and you're like, I don't know that I want this card to have deflect. It was not built with that in mind.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and like being able to take, even just giving something 3 might and deflect can be very relevant in different matchups.
Oh, totally. So from there, from Cato, we're going to Tiana Crown Guard. Can I still conquer and hold battlefields while my opponent has Tiana? Do I get conquer and hold triggers? What about drawing a card instead of getting the 8th point from conquering? Riftbound rules and card text use the word score in a couple different ways. You can score battlefields. You can also score points, as on cards like Trendemir Barbarian. The difference between these two is usually clear, but Tiana muddles them more than we anticipate. Tiana is solely concerned with points and doesn't interfere with the process of conquering or holding battlefields. You can still conquer and hold battlefields and get your conquer and hold triggers. You can even draw a card if you conquer a battlefield and can't score a point because it's the final point and you haven't scored every battlefield yet. It's not until you reach for your score pad, app, or tracking die that Tiana says no. The gain points meaning of score is underdeveloped in the current rules. So in the future, we are likely to revisit the rules and or card wording for scoring points without scoring battlefields. For now, we're issuing errata to make Tiana's function clearer and leave the rest unchained. Of course, Tiana now says, while I'm at a battlefield, opponents can't gain points. They could go through all the actions to score them, but they will not actually gain the point.
Yeah, there's also other things in the game now that like just let you spend resources to gain other points when you're in like certain battlefields or things like that. So that definitely makes her a bit more useful.
Already was kind of in on her in a way. I think she's just a little squishy for the amount of cost investment. But if you can get around that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you literally lose the function of winning the game or like scoring points. So like,
yeah,
if she were as bulky as her 7 cost 2 power would allow most other units at that cost, she would be too strong.
Yeah,
I think being a a general mid-game stats with a like. It just means like you have to invest in protecting her if it's your game plan. But that also means like if it's not your game plan, you don't play her.
It also, I mean, like she already kind of invests in herself a little bit because she, of course, has deflect. And for a lot of our repeat effect abilities, has to be targeted twice. That's a big, hey, I'd like to still be allowed to win the game expenditure on something like Falling Star or Icathian Rain, etc. I'm like, I'll send back 2, I guess. I don't want to lose. I don't want to not be allowed to win. So I think this card's cool. I'd love to see it show up in something in the future.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Plus, I mean, she has to be at a battlefield, so you're going to score points. So you're just going to sit there and hold and gain points while your opponent can't.
And slowly win the game. Question. Does Forgotten Monument work the same as Tiana? Will it receive similar errata? It has players can't score here until their 3rd turn. But Forgotten Monument works differently from Tiana, and we agree that's confusing. It's part of why we decided to issue errata for Tiana and not for Forgotten Monument. Forgotten Monument completely prevents the process of scoring there. That means no conquer triggers, no hold triggers, and no points from doing those things. Extra points, such as those from Renata Glass Mastermind, are unaffected. You can still gain control of the battlefield following the showdown. You just can't conquer.
This is going to cause trouble at locals.
It's, yes. Basically, it just says, hey, is it still turn 3? You don't get to do anything.
No, I think they should have made this needs to be a little like this is. I'm glad this is in the FAQs, but I definitely think this should be like you can't conquer this battlefield, and then with like a subtext, you can control this battlefield, but you can't conquer it.
Well, which also notes that like because what it was talking about here, it also says no hold triggers. So you can't conquer or hold this battlefield technically until after the 3rd turn.
Yeah, but you can control it. You can't conquer it. So like you can put stuff onto it and sit on it.
It just does nothing.
Correct. Or actually no, because at the end step, if your options are to either recall or conquer, and you can't conquer, so that means that you would have to recall.
I would have to double check. I'm not 100% on that.
See, this is
Jake,
is a problem.
Jake, ask the FAQ. Jake, ask the FAQ. What's the FAQ say?
The FAQ says Forgotten Monument completely prevents the process of scoring here. They just said that's what she does.
So you don't get you don't get your conquer triggers, you don't get your hold triggers, you don't get any points.
You don't get points from doing those. Extra points is just from
you can still gain control of the battlefield following a showdown. You just can't conquer it.
Yeah, so what happens is you're allowed to leave your person there, but unlike Tiana, whose whole point is that you just prevent the gaining of the point, this one starts it from the beginning of that whole process and says, it doesn't matter, you didn't actually conquer, you didn't actually hold. Unless it's the 3rd or later turn.
You just get to be there now.
This is
on your lonely little island.
Oh, absolutely.
This is going to see playing those long-standing decks that want to like choke you out. But also, this is going to cause so many problems at locals.
It's going to be a little confusing for sure.
And then we'll be able to pull this up and say, no, you're wrong. Read right here.
Yeah,
read.
Sure. For people that like spend a lot of time looking at the rules and looking at like a lot of the stuff like we do, sure. But for your regular locals where you don't have 3 nerds that sit on the internet every week and talk about, debate, and discuss this game, you're going to have a whole argument. And a lot of places might not even have a judge or people that are familiar with the FAQ. So you're going to spend 10 minutes, 15 minutes trying to find this or find this in the article.
Luckily, we are just going to be at our locals.
Well, you'll be at your locals.
Yeah, we are. But if you don't have people like us that are idiots and nerds that sit on this,
come listen to the podcast. People learn.
This is not shield time. Shield time's later. The big point I'm trying to make is there are points at locals where stuff like this that is actually it's even though they errated Tiana, because of the way that she functionally works, it makes this on read hard to process, and it is going to trip casual players up or regular players at locals that are not into going to like the big tournaments and stuff. They want to play at the locals, they want to get there, they want to enjoy the game on their local level, and you're going to have 10-15 minutes of a round stuck because somebody's not going to know how this works, and the other 6 people at the locals don't know either, and they're also busy playing their game.
Mm-hmm.
This could use reminder text.
Yeah.
There's plenty of room on this card for some text explaining this.
Yeah, just get rid of
and
all
that
the
goes back
picture,
to the thing that I said at the beginning of this whole thing, that we need a reprint.
No, because they're not even errating this card, is what I'm getting at.
We need a reprint with the reminder text is basically what he's saying.
Sure, but that's what I mean is like this card, they're saying, this is how it works.
This is actually how it works. It's working as intended. There we go. So, fair enough.
Yeah, this is the type of card reminder text would be very, very useful on. And when they print stuff like this that is even kind of vague, if you have to compare it to another card that is getting errata and then going, no, this works differently, even though the words are very similar, you need reminder text on this card.
In this case, it's actually saying, hey, this actually works the way you thought this other errata card was supposed to work.
Yeah, because like
it's the same
this says players can't score here until the 3rd turn. Her original text says, while I'm at a battlefield, opponents can't score points.
Yeah.
That is literally the same word. And then they errata can't gain points.
Yeah, she can't gain them.
So
it stops all of
gain points on her. This stops game function. You don't conquer, you don't hold.
Yeah.
Which makes this score very different.
Yeah.
And it muddies the water.
I agree.
That's that way, if anything muddies the water, or you go, maybe on this one, put reminder text on it. Mm-hmm. This card should have reminder text on it. That's my stance. Full stop. This is going to trip people up at locals and be a point of contention for people at locals at their card shop. And that's not good.
I think this is the least hot take you've probably ever said in your life.
Agreed.
So, which is great. I'm glad we're making progress. I agree that it probably needs something to show why it works the way it does. It does mostly work the way you think it would work, but it wouldn't hurt to have a few extra words to clarify exactly how it's supposed to work. But let's move on. Yone, Blade Master. When and how does Yone trigger? If you conquer a battlefield, is it still open? Yone's current text is a little open to interpretation. A strict reading suggests that he can never trigger at all. Once you've conquered a battlefield, it's no longer open, but obviously that's not the intent. We're tweaking his text to cue off the control status of the battlefield immediately before conquering it. This means that he works as intended, triggering at the end of a non-combat showdown in which he conquers. It also means that he now triggers in surprise defense scenarios, caused when units move around during showdowns and you wind up defending a battlefield you don't control. So with Yone Blade Master's revised text, he now says, when I conquer a battlefield that was uncontrolled...
Whoa! Hold on! That's really cool!
Deal damage equal to my might to an enemy unit at the base.
Let's go! I already had high stonks for this card. And I was going to get a place for this card anyway because Yone's like one of my favorite characters in League.
Yeah, you're a nerd. Got it.
And I've been like waiting really hard for a Yone character card.
Yeah, someday we'll get a legend probably.
Hold on. Defending a battlefield you don't control. Because it's already open if neither of you controls it and they move on to it and then you move on to it. Nobody controls that battlefield. It's an open battlefield. Then you're defending it. You then get to trigger his thing. Yeah. And then you get the point for owning the battle. That's so good.
Yeah, you get to slap him and then go, I don't know, do we win now? Look what happens.
That's so... Oh, yes. Anyway, continue, Brian. Sorry.
No.
That's so sick. I've not thought about that at all.
Yeah, it is really cool. I do think this card's pretty good. It has a very strong effect. Just like when you conquer the battlefield, kill something in the base. When they go and like if you move him to an open battlefield from an effect, from another effect, getting to slap people in the base is very cool. I think this character's really cool. With that, with Yone and him being really cool and doing some neat, cool things with this errata, that is the last errata card. There is a whole section of rules clarifications for Spiritforged, but we're going to talk about those next time. I am hijacking the podcast for an amount of time. I haven't quite decided how long yet. I want to talk about something adjacent to Riftbound, 2XKO. 2XKO is about to release on consoles. I believe if you're watching this on release date, it just happened 24 hours ago. Depending on your time zone, it might have just happened minutes ago. But, game's really cool. Free-to-play game. Tag fighter. I think this game's really cool. And with the console release and the official release of the game, we are getting Caitlyn Kiraman. And I want to show
that's a card in.
That's true. It is a card.
In
He's
the
also a
game.
character in League of Legends.
I haven't played League of Legends, so I wouldn't know about that.
That's not true. First off, we played together.
Okay, I played those like 3 games, and I only know Misfortune.
Yeah, well, that's because Misfortune is based. So, currently,
so you know Ezekiel.
Anyway,
no, that's a Riftbound card.
That's true. It's just that's a Riftbound exclusive, baby. So I'm going to show you guys her reveal trailer, and then I kind of want to talk about it for a few minutes, and I'm gonna make you talk to me about it. So I'm gonna stop, go over here. Share my screen. Oh, yeah, I need to change my thing real quick for it to look right on. Come on, I know I can do this right. There's a way to do this. Sorry, because it's still trying to show me, my image. And I was like, I know there's a way for me to hide myself on my side so that it puts me in the right spot. Come on.
Do 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 do
Yeah.
do 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 do
Do. And then I think if I turn my camera on, will it work?
Oh, no. That pushed us all over the place.
Yeah. What is this?
You can do you can turn off show my own camera, maybe?
Yeah, but
or show non-video participants. You can uncheck mark that.
If I uncheck, there we go. That's the one I need. Let me turn off my own camera. There we go. Now we're where we're supposed to be. I was like, I know there's a way to do this where it will take off my thing. I had to show off non-video participants. So that now I can just turn it off and then do that. So, like I was saying, I want you guys to see this cool thing.
Sheriff Kiraman, sighting target.
Air shot and charge shot, wall bounce.
He's shooting bullets against a melee fighter.
Okay, trap stops, stun, airs, bounce off.
saying a lot of words here.
Okay, that's really cool, actually.
Trap placement, really good.
Yeah.
So I like they incorporated the trap, but it
Yeah.
also looks like you benefit from being like in a fight versus like.
Care to join me?
Yeah, it also looks like she's allowed to.
He put down a tentacle?
On my way.
Oh, that's what. Yeah, that's what Alawi does. That was her super. Or one of her supers. Boom.
Hold.
Nice on land. And the restand.
So it looks like you're gonna get a lot of
We need
benefit
cover.
from like knowing trap.
Oh shit! Aegis Reflector.
One clear shot is all I need.
Oh, a different skin.
That costs it.
Oh yeah, the.
Cheers.
Oh, mix up. Boom, boom, boom. Swap back again. Throws the Aegis.
Wait, so
Oh, you can land on.
you're able to fight with both people at the same time?
Yes, you can swap back and
Yeah,
forth.
you're not reacting to it,
Headshot.
you're reacting to it.
I'm reacting to a lot of things right now, guys.
Boom, boom. Jinx. You can bounce
Nice
shots
try.
off the trap, and you can run the ground though with the
Shall
shot.
we?
Obviously, you fly for the knock up there.
Oh,
Her
and
super.
here's
I
yeah,
do.
here's the
Oh,
three.
the kill shot.
Level 3.
You can't avoid my sights.
All right.
You know, Caitlyn looks sick as hell.
Yeah, she do.
I don't know what I just watched, truly.
Unshare my screen, and then turn my camera back on, and we can continue from there.
So, Caitlyn. Oh wait, are we back on the? We good?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay, so Caitlyn looks good. Looks like obviously she's a range character. She will have zoning options,
Oh, absolutely.
but it looks like you get a lot of benefits from not zoning by like being in the action and having good combos and trap placement knowledge.
Yeah.
She likes to jump in the air and juggle.
Shit, those are words.
That's
Good
true.
job,
Yeah,
man.
that's true. So she does have an air dash because she can basically do her Q from League of Legends, and she can launch herself
Yeah,
in air, which is really cool. You also, unique to her, you aim when you do the special where she pulls the gun out. You can aim it up and down.
yeah.
And you saw her do it to Yasuo, where she had knocked Yasuo down and she shoots him on the ground, which restands him.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, and like restands are so strong. And the traps were restanding because like she hard knocked down that Ari, she landed on the trap and then immediately put her back up so you could hit her again.
Yeah, one notable thing is her roll also can cross.
Yeah,
Like, so she can
cross
cross
up
sides with her
roll.
roll. So it's very easy to like hit them on both sides with your support and pinch them between you, which is pretty cool.
I
Like,
mean,
obviously, we're not fighting game aficionados.
yeah, I just like the genre.
I literally don't know anything about fighting games.
Nick knows nothing about anything as per usual.
I've
But
played
yeah.
some Super Smash Brothers, and that's it.
We play casual. Like we played 2XKO.
Yeah,
a
we
few
played
times.
2XKO together.
So yeah, I'm a big fan. I actually think I think we might end up playing somewhere at some point. I know James has put a lot of work into Yasuo on 2XKO. So
And I'm a boring boy.
It's
And
free
I
to
just
play.
curious.
I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, it's free to play. Download it
it's
and
free
play
to play.
it. It's fun.
So yeah, you like actually just download it and play it. It's literally free.
Yeah.
Like the worst thing that happens is you have a good time.
I mean, though, I guess the worst thing that happens is you don't enjoy the game and then you just don't play it anymore.
Yeah, they just uninstall it.
Yeah, like that's nothing. But yeah, I think the restand is very strong with her. We saw a whole thing where when she did her, I believe it's her S1 super, that's basically like the charged up shot that she gets to aim. It has a thing where if you hit them in the head, one, it headshots, but it also does additional damage because of the headshot.
Yeah, because like her passive in League of Legends headshot.
Exactly, which is really cool because we're already incorporating the aim mechanic and also this thing. And then I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's if you hit dash, it like quick aims up or down more. Like you move it, and then if you hit the dash button, it'll force it down or up faster to try and get it on time. Which is really cool. And then the what I called Aegis Reflector, It probably doesn't actually work like Aegis Reflector. It probably doesn't send stuff back at your opponent when you use it. But it was really cool that shooting through it added an additional property to the special hits. And then also, when she was juggling Warwick off of the actual floating shield and getting to just repeated air juggle, I was like, this is cool.
Really interesting tools in her kit. Like, I feel like 2XKO has done that. Like, you see things that are kind of familiar from other fighting games, but like taken, I feel like a notch up. Like some of the cool stuff and juggling you can do with like Teemo, and like Echo's like timer, his time rewinder,
wild.
And like the thing is sick. So like there's a bunch of really cool stuff, and I really feel like they nail the feel of these champions in a fighting game. As somebody who's been playing League of Legends on and off since season 2, every time I see a character, I just go, wow, that really does kind of feel like that character.
It really makes you feel like Spider-Man.
Makes me feel like Spider-Man. And I'm like, why do I feel like Spider-Man in 2XKO where Spider-Man doesn't exist?
Exactly. No, I agree. Like, they've done a really good job of like really making that character feel like that character should feel. Like the idea of the like power fantasy of each of these characters in 2XKO translates really well. They've done a very good job of like, I am this long range sniper. I am a giant werewolf man that kills people. I'm a dude with an axe.
Which you can relate to in real life.
Yeah, like as we all can sometimes. I'm a crazy lady with 7 guns.
Just like Nick.
Pew 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 pew.
But yeah, no, I love this. I'm not gonna show you guys the moves list because like it honestly I think they're very boring. I like watching those kinds of things, but I don't think they're super exciting if you're not like deep.
It would also go over my head so much.
Yeah, exactly. There's a whole secondary piece where
Plus, I think we're running out of time here. Actually, I think we spent a lot of time on the FAQ erratas.
We did talk about them for quite a while.
Was a long list.
And we only went through about 2/3 of it. With that, now that we've gotten to share a little bit of another passion involving Riot Games at the moment, really appreciate all the time you spend here with us, listening to us talk about the card game, the fighting game, anything that we decide to talk about here on Riftbound and Down. As always, we appreciate when you like, comment, subscribe, ring those notification bells. All that really helps us out. And all the time you spend with us is great. As always, I've been Bryan.
I'm Jake, and Yon can do that? My mind is still cooking, dude.
And I'm Nick. Jake is just a lot sometimes, guys. I'm sorry.
He's a little extra.
Yon can on defense, guys.